Welcome back everyone, I'm Nini FC, this is Blue Line TV, and today I'm bringing back another Talking Points video after that emphatic win against Tottenham in yesterday's game. Now, to start with things, I'll be talking about Mason Mount, and following on, I'll be speaking about Olivier Giroud versus Tammy Abraham, and who needs to start versus Bayern Munich. And of course, to end things, I'll be talking about the 3-4-3 and whether this is the best tactics and formation to use against Bayern next week. Now, of course, you guys, if you like today's video, of course, smash that goddamn like button. Help me get over 1,500 likes. And on that point, we get straight in with things, and I'll be starting with Mason Mount. Now, Lampard was in very high praise for the player yesterday, and he said in his interview that a lot of people have to digest Mason Mount's performance to really understand what he did. And I agree with that, because Mason Mount really typified everything that the modern day number 10 has to be. He needs to combine creativity with intelligent positioning, with playing for the team as well as being important in the pressing phase of the game as well. And in yesterday's game, Mason Mount was just showing top class ability in every single one of these aspects. Now, as I've been stressing, and as I'll keep stressing every single time, we need to understand the distinctions in which Lampard uses the player. Mason Mount was never used as a creative number 10, and the main reason for that is because if you play with 10s, then you're playing the ball through the middle, playing the balls to their feet. Now, if Mason Mount's game was to receive the ball in the half turn and do something creatively, then yeah, I'll understand the critiques surrounding the player. But when his entire game has been about, of course, supplementing the play, helping with the pressing side of the game, going inside the box alongside Tammy Abraham, then of course, how can we judge a player for creativity when he's not in the team for those measures? Now, I think what's really benefited Mount is that he isn't playing with wingers. Now, as I've seen throughout the season, Pulisic, Hudson-Odoi and Willian have a tendency to go for shots with themselves, play passes for themselves, and they'll have a tendency of never finding Mount in those areas. And analysing his game and watching him throughout the season, I've seen countless opportunities and times where Mount arrived late inside the box, he was free of space, he lost his man, yet he would never receive the ball at all. Now, part of me felt like Mason Mount wasn't being vocal enough, he wasn't making his position known, and when he didn't receive the pass, I never saw any anger. He just kind of got on with things and maintained his game, and maybe that was the mistake. But since we are playing with no wingers at all, since the team is forced to find our cams in the middle of the pitch, it means that we can see more of what Mason Mount's game is really about. As I said yesterday, think about you guys, Mason Mount playing in the 10 position, Pulisic down the left hand side, Willian down the right. We saw throughout the season that Pulisic and Willian were told to move between the lines, play more centrally, and most times when they did that, both players would look to take a shot for themselves. So naturally, that was going to affect the amount of quality that Mason Mount could show in the final thirds. But now that we gave him full creative license in yesterday's game, he's shown that he has the decision making, he has the intelligence, the tactical discipline, and of course the quality in the final third to make things happen. He's been so unlucky not to register more assists because of some incredible pieces of play from the player, and the only interesting question is that when guys like Pulisic and Hudson return back to the team, is Lampard going to adapt how he uses Mount in the team? Is Lampard going to tell Mount to maybe sit a bit deeper so he can be that creative influence in the team? These are all very interesting questions, and just so I can end the point, Mason Mount really typified everything positive about our win yesterday. He set the precedent right from the start. His energy levels, his intensity did not dip throughout the entire game, and these are the type of mental qualities that we want to see in players playing for the shirt. Now, you guys, I'm going to move on now to the debate between Olivier Giroud and Tammy Abraham, and who needs to start against Bayern next week. Now, I do want to start with things, and I feel like we need to understand and respect the current condition that Tammy Abraham is currently in. Now, Abraham is not fully fit, and I think as a fan base, we need to respect that we don't understand the full player's conditions before we start to critique them, and we need to respect that Lampard has publicly let us know that Tammy Abraham has still not fully 100% recovered, and I feel like that's a detail that we need to accept and we need to respect. Tammy Abraham has been playing through the pain, and for any of you guys that have played competitive sports, obviously you know what it's like to play with an injury. You can't be 100% mentally in the game, and the reason why Tammy's recent form hasn't been too amazing is because Lampard has had to rush the player back to bring him into the team, because obviously we have an injury crisis at this moment in time. We have players not fully fit as well. We should be praising Tammy for putting his body on the line and fighting for the team. And it's for these reasons why I personally feel that Giroud should start the game against Bayern Munich. Now, I can envision something like this: Giroud starting the game and maybe playing the first 45 to 60 minutes, with Tammy Abraham continuing on from the second half. Now, there could be some great benefits providing this balance in the striker areas. Of course, with Giroud having a completely different game style to Tammy Abraham, well, that's naturally going to make things more difficult for Bayern Munich's defence. With Giroud's strength, his experience, his ability to hold the ball, his ability to play people in as well, he could really give those Bayern defenders a real battle. And then after the 60th minute, with Tammy Abraham's introduction, with Tammy running the channels, stretching the defensive line, competing for aerial balls, and bringing that physicality as well, they could definitely help us against Bayern Munich. But to continue on, more reasons as to why Giroud needs to start is because Giroud now is in serious mode. He is fighting for his place to win a spot in the Euros for this summer. He's going to do everything in his powers to get there. And I think this is why we saw such a confident performance against Tottenham. Giroud must be buzzing that he scored a big significant goal against them. And I feel like he can bring that same energy for the next game against Bayern. But anyway, to end things, I think we need to understand why Giroud hasn't been in the team. Now, I always talk about tactics because this is the reason why decisions get made in the first place. Everything that a manager does is based on tactical reasons. Now, at the start of this season, when we had all our wingers playing, the wingers looked much better, having a striker in Tammy Abraham, making space for them, making runs in behind, etc, because it was those runs which allowed the inside forwards to run inside, cut inside, and that's why Pulisic, for example, was looking so bright during the start of the season. Of course, when you have wingers like this, bringing a target man in doesn't necessarily help because it doesn't complement the team when we break teams down. But now that the wingers are currently injured or not fully fit at this point in time, well, it means that Giroud now has a new lease of life. With Lampard introducing cams into the team, bringing the width out from the wing backs instead of width from the wide players, Giroud has the support around him he needs. He has the players playing off him, he has the players making the runs in behind as well, and obviously this means that Giroud doesn't have to run as much, he doesn't have to run the channels as much, and he gets to stay in more central positions. And as I've said before, with Ruben returning back to the team very soon, well, I feel like that guarantees Giroud even more minutes this season, and now that he has the support that really complements his game, that's when you can see the real Olivier Giroud. And you guys, on that point, I'm going to end things talking about the 3-4-3 and why I feel this formation is what we need against Bayern Munich next week. Now, as I've been stressing, I hope that a lot of you guys watched my match preview, the second half of that match preview where I broke down how exactly the 3-4-3 system works. Now, the point I was trying to stress is that the 3-4-3 really benefits our current midfield, and that's because Kovacic and Jorginho, our guys are counter-pressing midfield players. When you counter-press, pressing suits them, it suits their defensive style. But our main issue is when we have to move back into our own half, when we have to protect our defensive lines, when we have to keep our shape and hold our positions, can Kova and Jorginho fulfill the same defensive aspects that they can do when they're pressing? And the answer is no. The reason for that is because, number one, Kovacic tends to be very indisciplined because he likes to receive the ball, he likes to make things happen. And for me, this makes him a bit impatient. So what he tends to do is he leaves his defensive positioning, allowing gaps down that side. And this is unfortunate because it means that Jorginho is left in no man's land. Now, Jorginho doesn't have that acceleration, he doesn't have that speed in short distances, and it's why he struggles to keep up and catch up with any danger in behind him. On top of that, I feel like they both don't communicate enough defensively, and it's been exactly why Lampard has had to rely on Kante this season. When we use a 3-4-3, having an extra defender at the back, an extra defender facing the play, and of course when you face the play you get to spot the danger, you get to spot those runs that the midfield players aren't picking up. Well, that's been a lifesaver for them because it means that Jorginho doesn't have to run too many big distances, and we can stop the danger if we see it in front of us. But of course, when it comes to the build-up play as well, we know that Jorginho and Kova playing very close to each other are probably two of the best press resistant players in the world. I mean, you don't accidentally outpossess Man City, do you? I mean, it just doesn't work like that. You have to be exceptional players. And I think having this extra man with these two combining in the pivot really helps us fight through that first phase of press on the opposition team. And once we do that, we see the qualities that cover provides due to his excellent close control, and I feel like this may have to be the go-to tactical setup against Bayern Munich. But to end this point, naturally, with more players maybe being suited at this point in time to a back three system, I'm talking about guys like Marcos Alonso, who was extraordinary against Tottenham yesterday. I watched the game again and he looks even better. It helps guys like Ross Barkley, who gets to play in his best position, which is number 10. It helps Olivier Giroud, who gets the support around him. And it means that we get to utilize our midfield right now, and we get a stronger defense. With Ruben being really close to playing, and of course I can just imagine him prospering, playing alongside a Mason Mount in that number 10 role, or even playing as the third midfield player who's allowed to break his lines and attack the spaces from deep. I see 3-4-3 being the go-to formation until the wingers return back to the team. But anyway, you guys, on that point, I'm going to wrap things up now and keep things moving. I'm not at my home right now, so sorry for the video coming out late, and sorry for the format being a bit different today. I just don't have my normal things. But you guys, on that point, I'm going to wrap things up, keep things moving. Thank you for watching. Tomorrow it's going to be Bayern Munich heavy all day, so make sure you tune into Blue Lions TV. I'm about. Thank you for watching. I'm NineFC. This is Blue Lions TV. See you guys tomorrow.